Hi, my name is Jeremy Tucker, and I'm the Director of Arts Education for Durham Public Schools. We're lucky to have so many strong partnerships with many arts organizations throughout the Triangle. Our partnership with Kidznotes is extremely special because they have been providing free instruments and music lessons to students attending Title I schools for the past 10 years. On today's segment of Partner Talks, we will speak with the new Executive Director, Shana Tucker. Welcome, Shana, and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'm really happy to be here talking with you today.
We are too. And so before we begin, I want to tell you guys out there just a little bit about Shana. Shana is the new Executive Director of Kidznotes, and we are so lucky to have her in that role. She's a cellist, singer, songwriter, arts advocate, teaching artist, collaborator, and cultural conduit. In each role, Shana is a builder of connections when she's associating STEM concepts with backbeats, engaging audiences through candid song storytelling and performance, and now, most recently, as the new Executive Director of Kidznotes. She embodies the nonprofit's mission to change lives and communities through the power of music. Before we get going, will you tell those folks out there who have never heard of Kidznotes a little bit about Kidznotes?
Sure. So Kidznotes is a music for social change organization. We provide free music instruction and instruments to students in Durham County Public Schools, in Wake County, in Raleigh-Wake County. And Chapel Hill, we provide in-school music instruction to pre-K.
How does it feel being a musician that's a cellist and now being the new executive director of an organization that is helping more kids play more stringed instruments?
I love it. I love on so many levels, but I think the very first, like the top on the list is that I see myself. You know, I started out playing violin in 4th grade in public school. Switched to cello in 6th grade, and I kept it up because playing cello and being in orchestra was for me like a lot of my friends in cheerleading and track and sports. It was something that I look forward to doing and to getting better at and competing at a certain, in Long Island String Festival, competing for first chair, or feeling good about that victory, or just knowing that there was something else outside of my school that I could strive to do and still be engaged in music, in school, outside of school. The difference, I think, for the kids that are here with Kidznotes is that at a certain point, some of the schools don't have orchestra anymore. And so, we, instead of hitting a brick wall, we have a resource that not only is just like once a week, but it's several times a week to continue to pour in and to remind all of our kids that there is a creativity that they can tap into at any moment.
I just want to bring out what you said about being a part of something that is larger than yourself and attending school during the day. And just how I think I speak for many of our teachers and kids and families that it is great to see someone like you that looks like the majority of our students, that is a strings player, that does get that music can be a vehicle for social change, leading this organization that is really special to Durham Public Schools.
Yeah, that was also like a thing. I don't know if we all have these moments where something happens good and you're in the public, so you can't be like this. But that was like a moment for me to say, the introspective remembrance that I did not see myself playing a stringed instrument, playing classical music until I was in college, like in person. I didn't see myself, and just knowing that I can show up and be a mirror not just in strings, but also in leadership capacity. You know, we sort of throw around the two words representation matters. And it does. It's not that it's not without gravity. It's just to say that it really, I remember viscerally what it felt like to see Eileen Folson on stage when I was at Howard University playing classical music, and then playing Duke Ellington's Come Sunday in quartet, and then
Yeah.
playing Ray Charles, like, you know, I mean, I was just like, what is happening right now? I can do all of this on cello. Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
yes, to be that in some way, shape, or form for our kids, I'm here for it all day.
And so, Kidznotes, for those of our audience members that are out watching this video, this partner talk, Kidznotes, explain to us the programming that is typically offered in a year without COVID.
Right.
And we'll get to how it's changed, because I think that's incredible. There's an incredible story there to bring out. But tell us about the programming that each of our students that are involved in Kidznotes. What is it?
So in a typical year, it's an after-school program, 2 hours on 3 to 4. We have nucleos, what we call nucleos, which are kind of this big beehive, a source of activity in all these different places and spaces where students come from all over the county, in Durham and in Raleigh. We have 2 different nucleos, but in Durham, our nucleo is Fayetteville Street Elementary School. Students are bused to the nucleo. They come in, they grab a snack. They go to either their instrument sectionals, which are basically group lessons per instrument in band, orchestra. There's choir as well. And then there's the second hour is chamber ensemble, orchestra, full orchestra, percussion ensemble. We also have electives in piano, music theory, art. We have had tutors in a partnership alignment with NC Central. There's a lot that goes on in those 2 hours. And like I said, the students are bused from many different schools. Thank you very much, DPS, for arranging that transportation. And then we have Saturdays as well.
And so I think this year is obviously like no other year. In fact, our elementary students have not been in the building since March. It's almost been a year. It's crazy to me to think about. And so obviously Kidznotes has been a leader, I would say, in the country of completely pivoting and still having an incredible impact with even more students during this time where we can't be in real time together. So tell us just a little bit about how that programming has changed or developed and progressed to meet the needs of our students right now.
Kidznotes had to make a decision. Are we going to pause? Are we going to press pause? Or are we going to we're just going to continue with the play button continuing on? And so we moved from our in-person nucleos to a completely 100% online virtual music instruction still after school. We combined our nucleos, so now we have Durham/Raleigh nucleo, and our teachers are teaching those same classes I described, primarily instrument sectionals. We have a few chamber ensembles that are like, we can't, orchestra is just not a thing that we can do right now, because with 30 members, 30 students on Zoom playing several different instruments, I'm sure you can understand is a bit of a challenge. But for this semester, the chamber ensembles, our quartets are still meeting, our sectionals are happening. We've allowed a lot, we've introduced probably earlier than we would have in person, the concept of everybody show me your solo for this week. So even our beginners are finding ways to be empowered to play in front of their peers in a safe space to show what they've learned. So we are again showing up twice a week now. Our instructions are just modified to make sure that we don't contribute to screen fatigue, and we make sure that we maximize the time and still stress the importance of finding something creative to do after a long day being on screen at school.
I think it's just important to note to our audiences that where a lot of nonprofit organizations that reach students through the arts, um, some may have had to stop right now during this time of COVID, and some have continued, and some have strengthened. And I do think Kids Notes has strengthened and has widened their impact to reach even more students. And when we do return to real time music making, I cannot wait for those students to hear that first note together as an orchestra. And so thanks for your leadership, Shana, with Kids Notes and your team, because I know they're doing a lot more work than they did this time last year. So let me ask you a question. If I'm out there and I'm a kid or I'm a parent or a teacher, and I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds amazing. I somehow want to support or I want to be a part of Kids Notes. What should I do?
I think the first step is absolutely to go to Kidznotes, KIDZNOTES.org, and then click on About. And we have About the program is the very first thing in the drop down. About the program outlines what it is that we do, why we do it, how we do it, who our partner schools are, and when our enrollment is. Our enrollment is in the spring, and it is, we have at the top of our website on the splash page, when enrollment is open or when it's upcoming, it'll say enrollment on this date. It's usually around March or April of each year. Can I tell you something that just popped into my head? I find it essential to speak to the power of music and creativity and how essential it is to our students, especially now. And I say that using the example of accessibility, because a lot of our students have a hard time jumping online, or they're sharing a screen with siblings, or maybe for their parents' work schedules, they are caring for their siblings while they're trying to get through their music lessons, and they're still showing up. Our parents are sending texts and saying, hey, the Zoom link isn't working. Can someone help me? Or even since enrollment was in early September, parents are still like, hey, I want my kid to participate. How can I be down, right? And I just wanted to just like speak to the fact that it's not easy to show up online after your whole life has gone from in person to online, and then learn an instrument. And people are still excited to do it. Kids are wanting to show up. Kids miss it when we have a teacher work day. So I don't know, maybe that's a little humble brag. I'm not sure, but I'm going to proudly brag on the fact that, Kids Notes programming is something that people are making a significant effort to show up for several times a week.
Well, thank you so much, Shana, for taking some time to talk about the incredible programming that Kids Notes is bringing straight to our students in DPS. You are doing amazing work, and your team around you is fantastic. And I put our students, our teachers, and our community around with you. And we are so excited to see where Kids Notes is in 10 years under your leadership. And welcome to Durham Public Schools.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. And thank you, Durham Public Schools. We appreciate this partnership.